All right. With a quick show of hands, how many of you are currently pursuing the associated college degree or are working in a career that aligns with your childhood dream job? Yeah, that's what I thought. For those of you who raised your hands, congratulations, you're incredibly blessed, and the rest of us definitely envy you. For everyone else, myself included, don't fear, for we're not alone. In a 2013 survey released by the University of Phoenix, statistics reported that just 14% of U.S. workers believe they are currently working in their dream career. Additionally, of the 90% of U.S. workers who reported having career plans when they were younger, 73% stated they have not landed a position in the career field that they had planned. As a college senior who is preparing to graduate this June, these numbers are rather frightening to me, particularly because as young adults we face nearly unbearable amounts of pressure from society to make our career choices early, to immediately enter into the associated degree program, find an internship, timely graduate, and to promptly begin the journey down our selected career path. From my own experience as a young adult, for society to simply expect someone in between the ages of 18 to 24 to have an established plan as to what they want to do for the rest of their lives seems rather absurd. Until recently, like the vast majority of high school graduates and college students, I hadn't the slightest idea as to what I wanted to pursue for a career post-graduation. This unknowingness truly bothered me as I felt as I was carelessly and aimlessly wandering through life with minimal direction. For myself and for many others, the fear of the unknown haunted me greatly and deeply affected my level of happiness. I'm here today to tell you that having an uncertainty about your future is okay. After all, we have the rest of our lives to decide what it is that we are truly passionate about. It is my belief that if you put the maximum effort into identifying and pursuing your individual passion, choose to follow your own path with 100% of belief in your own ability, and actively practice generosity towards others, you will eventually find a career that is right for you and intrinsically be rewarded with a deeper level of happiness. I want you to think back onto what it was that you wanted to be when you were growing up. Undoubtedly, it was something that you were once incredibly passionate about, a passion that you may still carry with you today. Granted, everyone changes over the career of their lifetime, and our passions are likely to shift as we grow as individuals. However, identifying what motivates us is key to determining our passions and how we can pursue them. When I was younger, like many kids do, I dreamed of becoming a professional athlete, more specifically an NHL hockey player. Clearly, my childhood dream of becoming a hockey player didn't come true, as I probably wouldn't be standing in front of you here today. However, I haven't quite given up on the hairstyle yet. Hockey is without a doubt an incredibly challenging sport and often requires decades of hard work, dedication, and training in order to succeed at the highest level. However, that said, my inability to continue my career in hockey wasn't solely a result of lack of hard work or even talent. More so, it was a lack of self-belief. During the spring of my senior year of high school, as my final hockey season came to a close, I was presented with the opportunity to continue my hockey career through a program, a junior hockey program called the NAAHL. When it came time to choose whether or not I was going to continue to further my attempt to play professional hockey, I feared the associated risk that I imagined came with the decision to choose to play hockey versus to go to college like the rest of my friends were choosing to do. I severely questioned my ability to excel at the next level of hockey and was afraid of the embarrassment that I would potentially experience if I failed to find success as a collegiate, pro, or even semi-pro hockey player. Fundamentally, my 18-year-old self lacked the self-confidence and necessary mentality needed to pursue a career in professional sports. Due to the absence of belief in my own ability, after 16 years of rigorous training, I chose to hang up my skates and end my competitive hockey career. Now, I'll be the first to admit, and I know that my dad would be more than eager to agree, that lack of self-confidence in my own ability wasn't the only factor that contributed to my decision to go to college rather than pursue a career in hockey. To my parents' dismay, when deciding upon which college I was going to first attend, I settled on Minnesota State University Mankato, largely in part due to the fact that my ex-girlfriend at the time also chose to go to school there. Rookie mistake, I know. As what happens with the majority of high school relationships, mine didn't last. In fact, it never even made it to Halloween. So there I was. There I was, 18 years old, recently single and ready to take on the world. Only problem was I had no idea in what means I was to do it. At the time, I was unsure of what I wanted to pursue as a career post-college. I was, however, currently enrolled in the marketing program at Minnesota State. Now, a major choice that I decided upon based on the recommendation from none other than my ex-girlfriend's dad, who said I would be good at it. Based off my social skills and personality, I don't think he was wrong. I think I would make a great marketer or sales representative. However, it wasn't a degree program that I chose because I was passionate about it. This is a problem that I fear many high school students and college grads currently face. In fact, according to the National Center for Education and Statistics, roughly 80% of all college students change a major throughout the course of their college career. Of those, the average amount of times a major is changed is 3. So not only is it okay for you not to be sure of what you want to do post high school or post graduation, it's actually quite normal. Fortunately for myself, marketing was the appropriate major choice. After all, I have personally never changed majors. However, the fear of further delaying my graduation largely influenced my decision to stick with the marketing major. To make a long story short, I might have had a little too much fun in Mankato. After just 2 years, I withdrew from college. I moved back home with mom and dad, and at the time I was in pretty rough shape. I had no direction as to what I wanted to do for the rest of my life, so I was kind of, again, wandering around rather aimlessly. I had a hard time finding interest in the vast majority of my classes and found it difficult to fully apply myself in order to be a successful student. As a result, I needed some time off, some more time to reevaluate what I was truly passionate about. Due to a lack of success at my first attempt at college, I get asked a lot if I regret the decision to not play college hockey or to not pursue a career in hockey. The answer is no, and I couldn't stress that enough. I honestly hate the word regret. How can I regret something that has led me to where I am today if I'm happy with who I am today? I never want to experience the feeling of what if again. That is what I experienced when I chose not to go to play hockey. Is I had this feeling of what if, like what would have happened had I chosen that career path over the career path of going to college and trying to find a career after I graduate. Now, fast forward to roughly 6 months ago. At this time, I just began my senior semester at University of Wisconsin-River Falls. With graduation just around the corner, I had yet to decide what it was that I wanted to pursue as a career. I was receiving a lot of pressure from my parents, professors, and peers alike to apply for internships in order to receive a beneficial job-related experience. Problem was, none of the available interests had a remote interest to me. Or none of the available internships seemed to have a remote interest to me. So with less than a year left until graduation, I felt an almost overwhelming amount of anxiety as to what my near future would look like. Turns out a little bump on the head was all I needed to find out what I was passionate about. The story goes that when Isaac Newton discovered gravity, an apple fell down from a tree he was sitting underneath and bumped him on the top of the head. Recognizing the apple had gained velocity as it fell, Newton realized there must be a force causing this acceleration, and just like that, he developed the universal law of gravitation. For myself, in order to realize what I'm passionate about, all I had to do was fall off my longboard, cracking my head on the pavement. Unfortunately, this was not just a little bump that you would associate with an apple falling from a tree. This injury resulted in multiple fractures to my orbital bone, cracked the inside of my skull, and left me with a pretty nasty traumatic brain injury. This injury happened in the beginning of October and put me out of school for the remainder of the semester. So I missed all of last semester with this injury. So naturally, I assumed there was no chance for me to graduate like I had scheduled this spring. Ask anyone and they will likely agree that adversity always seems to strike at the most inopportune of times. But out of adversity comes opportunity. Benjamin Franklin said that. You guys might have heard of him. For whatever reason, my recent fall allowed me to discover what it was that I was truly passionate about. And as a result, not only will I wear a helmet every time I skateboard again, but I also determined what it was that I wanted to pursue for a career post-graduation. To put it simply, I want to design and sell socks. The idea for this peculiar career plan first surfaced this past June while I was on my way to a music festival in Rothbury, Michigan called Electric Forest. At the time, I was desperately in search of some guidance as to what I wanted to do with my life after college. I was hoping that 5 days of fun, sun, and music would help relieve some of the stress that I associated with not knowing what I wanted to do. During the 10-hour drive to Michigan, I asked my friends to help me brainstorm some potential career options I might be interested in. After an hour or so of discussing my interests and hobbies and how I could potentially align them with a career, we weren't making a whole lot of progress. Now, these two friends in particular are notorious for constantly telling me to, quote, cut my hair and stop wearing such funny socks. So once this was, again, recommended as a better method to prepare myself for the job market, out of frustration, I responded, screw it, I'm starting my own sock company. What started out as somewhat of a joke developed into a potential reality when I stumbled across a statistic that showed socks as being one of the most frequently requested items at homeless shelters, in some cases more so than food. This is when I decided that I knew what I wanted to do with my life. I wanted to accomplish something meaningful, to make a positive impact in the world around me, to bring a smile to someone else's face and a warmth to their heart, starting from the toes up. Finally, I had some direction, and apparently a little bump on the head was all the motivation I needed to wholeheartedly begin working towards the creation of my own company. Having read countless studies that show a correlation between generosity towards others with reduced stress levels and a longer, healthier life, I'm a firm believer that generosity truly is the key to happiness. As someone who has dealt with depression throughout the majority of their young adult life, I'm constantly seeking out the root of happiness. After my head injury especially, I was reminded of how depleting depression can be. And I decided that I would combat it at whatever means possible. I decided to make generosity my passion. It is my theory that if I can provide others with joy, in return, I too will be rewarded with a deeper level of happiness. Therefore, with the free time I had while recovering from my fall, I dedicated the majority of my efforts towards developing a social enterprise that I call Hippy Feet. And since then, I've come a long way. Today, I have a detailed model for my sock business, and am in the process of working with manufacturers to develop a sock that I see as most valuable to what I'm trying to accomplish. The idea behind Hippie Feet is to operate off of a buy one, give one business model where for every pair of socks that I sell, another will be donated to the homeless shelters locally or to families in need of assistance. The socks I create will be constructed mostly out of organic materials such as merino wool to limit the environmental impact typically associated with synthetic or rayon fibers, and will feature a fashionable nature-influenced design. With homelessness in the Twin Cities area and even St. Croix County being on the rise in the last few years, the demand for a product like mine has never been higher. Developing a social enterprise that combines my love for fashionable socks with my urge to help others has been without a doubt what I wanted to pursue since taking my tumble off my skateboard. A few weeks ago, however, I discovered that pursuing this endeavor was not only what I wanted to do, but it was what I needed to do. On my way out of a concert in the cities a couple weeks back, I was stopped by a homeless man who asked if I had a few dollars to spare. Now, I'm the type of person who, whenever facing a situation like this, is going to fork over what I have on me, a couple bucks here and there. In my theory, they need it more than I do, panhandling or not. But with this particular gentleman, I noticed there was a real struggle in his eyes, and I felt the urge to help, so I gladly gave him some cash. The instant gratitude that this man showed me was inspiring, and after receiving what I gave him, he felt the urge to tell me how he was actively trying to get himself back on his feet. This was intriguing to me, and I sparked up a conversation and mentioned to the man my business plan for Hippie Feet. When I told him that I planned to donate a pair of socks to local homeless shelters for every pair that I sold, it literally brought tears to his eyes. He went on to explain how cold his hands and feet were. He even reached to shake my hand, but stopped. He said his hands were too cold. So naturally, I embraced him in the biggest hug that I could. In my mind, there's no associated risk in this endeavor of developing a social enterprise. Yeah, I might spend a few $1,000s on socks, but they would go to people who need them more than I do, and I can live with that. This wasn't going to be another situation where I would be left wondering, what if? With just 4 months left until I can officially graduate from college, I can finally say that I've found a sense of direction in my life. I know what I'm passionate about, and I'm determined to pursue it. But most importantly, I believe with 100% of my soul in my own ability to accomplish my goals and successfully develop and launch the social enterprise Hippie Feet. In my opinion, the power of belief is extremely undervalued, and when in reality, it should be the root of our existence. The brain has proven to be more powerful than we can even imagine, and through belief, the mind has accomplished some incredible things. I once read a statistic from a Japanese study where scientists tested the placebo effect by exposing 13 children to poison ivy. On one arm, they rubbed a benign leaf, so not active or not poisonous, and told the children that it was poison ivy. On the other, they rubbed a real poison ivy leaf and told the children that it was faked. 11 out of the 13 children showed a negative reaction and broke out in hives on the arm that the benign leaf was rubbed, simply because they were told that it contained poison ivy. That's just one small example of how powerful belief can actually be. Granted, belief isn't all that it takes in order to achieve something. There's a lot of hard work and training that goes into achieving your goals. But if you're willing to put in the necessary time and effort, and you align your goals with your passions and wholeheartedly believe in your own ability, there isn't much that can stop you. It took me 5 years after giving up my dreams of becoming a professional hockey player, to figure out what it was that I was passionate enough to pursue as a career. If you find yourself in a similar situation, I assure you that it's not a big deal and that eventually you will figure it out. So as long as you actively identify and pursue your passions, believe in your own ability, and above all, practice generosity towards others, if you do this, you will find success in the real world, but most importantly, you will discover a deeper level of happiness. Thank you.